Hi everyone, my name is Michael. I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence and how to build AI solutions through collaboration. And I would like to make it more like a brainstorming thought exchange session. And I would like to understand who is listening in right now and what is your background? What is your experience maybe with AI? And if you want also, why are you interested in this topic and this concept? And then I would make it based on what questions you have on your mind, what thoughts you have, and then I have a lot to share around the concept. So feel free to introduce yourself maybe through the chat, or you can also join via audio or video, whatever you prefer. So first question is, what is your background? Do you have experience with AI, and what is your motivation in joining this session? Okay, Ariel. Hey, Ariel.
Hi, Michael. How are you? Well, my interest is more philosophical. Like, what will happen in a world like just 1 week ago, I saw the Elon Musk interview with Joe Rogan. I don't know if you saw it, where he talks about the Neuralink implant that he's developing, that they will like drill a hole in people's skulls, put the machine, and then like you're connected to the internet, and that machine will become better each time, and we're going to become like mixed with the machines, right? So my questions are more philosophical, like what is consciousness, or what will happen with humans that are enhanced, or if we are going to be, if our consciousness will be downloaded into a data center, and we are going to live our life inside a machine, right? Inside a simulation. That's my approach. I don't know if your specialty is that or not. Those are my interests.
Yes. So thank you, Ariel. Do I pronounce your name correctly? Is it Ariel? Okay, cool. So maybe we already live in a simulation, right? So there's also this argument that we already live in one, and nobody can prove that we don't. But I don't want to go into this topic too deeply, but it's interesting that you come up with this point. I think, it would be really helpful for the people who are joining right now if you can share maybe your experience with AI. Do you already have experience with AI? Have you worked in AI? Please share that, because that makes it easier for me to understand from which angle we can approach this. So I see Jerome wants to say something. Yes, Jerome. Hey, Jerome.
Hi, guys. I did just pop outside so I can speak because there's a lot of talking going on inside. But yeah, background-wise, so I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a developer, a front-end web developer as well myself. Pretty good conceptual understanding of AI and how it can be implemented and how data feeds it, and it can get better through that. And I mainly joined this conversation because I was kind of curious as to the last part, kind of building real world solutions, and especially through collaboration. So I was really curious as to like, what's the collaborative element that you're talking about here? Is it about kind of collaboratively sharing data for the machine for the AI to learn with? Or was it much more kind of collaborative in terms of how people can contribute towards how the AI works? I guess there's also the philosophical side of the same point, which is around, is it a bunch of rich techie white men designing the biases of the model of how AI works? Or kind of can everyone contribute towards how the AI model makes decisions? Was kind of like one of the ways this could go. But yeah, I wasn't really sure like how it would go, but that's my background and curiosity.
Yes, thanks, Jerome. Now it's becoming a more clear direction that we can go into, and I think we can start with what Ariel was talking about, the more philosophical aspect of it. And please feel free for the rest joining in, what questions you have and what is your background with AI. And if you don't have any experience, you can just share no experience at all. I think to start with regards to artificial intelligence, one thing to mention is that there's a lot of buzz out there, in a way that people are talking about doomsday scenarios. They are talking about robots taking over the world. They are talking about robots automating everything and taking all our jobs. And people are living a lot in the future. And this is somehow a human condition, that we like to either live in the past and think about things that have happened in the past, things that we might have liked and that we want to have back, or things that we didn't like, or we think about the future and we think about things that might happen in the future that we might not like or that we might like. But there's one thing that we often forget which is living in the present and thinking about what can we do right now, because there are really no experts of the future, and the only way to predict the future is to create it. And you can only create something right now. At least you have to start right now. So when we talk about Elon Musk and we talk about implanting chips in our brains and we talk about consciousness, then those are all very interesting concepts, and a lot of people are working on this. And there will happen a lot, because there's always progress in human history. There has always been progress, and right now, just think 50 years ago and then tell somebody that at around 2000 there will be the internet and everyone will be connected to the internet and people all around the world will communicate as we do right now, just by using a laptop or phone or something like that. There was also no smartphone, obviously. And 50 years ago, people would have said, well, no, that's not possible. Nobody could imagine. So most likely something like this will happen in the next 10, 20, 30, 100 years. Nobody can really predict that. So that is very exciting and very interesting. But again, the only thing that we can really do is we can do something right now, and we can create something right now. And what I would like to talk about is, how can you leverage artificial intelligence technology and build solutions for problems that are relevant right now in this world. And the way to do this is, from my perspective, from the perspective of the people that I'm working with, is through collaboration and through sharing, just as we do right now. Because right now people are coming together, we are inspiring each other. We all have different experiences, different backgrounds, different maybe strength, and we can help each other to become a little bit more. So with regards to AI, there's a lot happening right now in this world where countries are competing, where companies are competing, where people are talking.
אתה רואה? בסטארט וידאו, מראה אותי.
So there is a lot going on in terms of how can we win the AI race and how can we outcompete each other. What I think is, in order to solve problems that we all have, problems that are not just local but that are global, such as the pandemic right now, or hunger, or domestic violence, which is something that is going up right now in these situations due to the lockdowns happening everywhere. So the question is, how can we solve those complex problems? And a way to do this is through collaboration. And for the one of you who do not know how an AI project works or what AI is, artificial intelligence at the core is something that has started in the 50s, and people have been working on different mathematical models, And the problem back then was that there was not enough data. So in order to leverage most of the models, the mathematical models that are out there, you need to have data. Right now, we have a lot of data. So that's why you hear so much about AI in the recent maybe 5 to 10 years, because we have a lot of data available right now. So right now we can use this data, we can put it into those mathematical models, and they figure out patterns in the data. So for example, let's say that you want to identify, just very basic example, we all use, I think, Google to a certain degree, and we all use Google Images. And in those images, Google has algorithms that identify what is on the picture. So they can differentiate between a cat and a dog, for example. And the way it works is that they use so-called neural networks or mathematical models, and they feed the images, they feed the data into those models. And then those models figure out pixel by pixel, what is a cat, what is a dog? And then it says, that's a cat, and that's a dog. So then you can give those algorithms new data, new images, and then it figures out on this new data, again, what is a cat, what is a dog? So to put it very simple, artificial intelligence just means to have data and algorithms that are looking for patterns in data. And right now in the world, there are a lot of things, or to be honest, everything is about patterns. And AI has the potential to look into patterns. So usually an AI project works in a company that you have. In a company, it's often a problem because people do not know what AI is. So they just think AI will solve everything. And it's kind of like a magic sauce that you just pour onto something and then it will solve everything automatically. But in the end, what you need is you need to do a lot of things. You need to, first of all, identify a problem that is worth solving. So you always start with a problem. It does not work like, let's do something with AI. It's like, let's do something with fire. Fire is also technology. Let's do something with fire. Or let's do something with a phone. It's not, it doesn't make any impact, because in the end, what we humans want to do is we want to solve meaningful, impactful problems. So with AI and also other technology, it's all about what is the problem that I have here right now? And can I solve this problem with artificial intelligence? So once we have identified this problem, then we can look into how are humans currently solving this problem. So let's use an example. For example, we did a project in India, and this project was about identifying rooftops through satellite images. And in India and in many other countries, there is the quality of satellite images is very low. So you could not really see on the satellite images the rooftops. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to identify the square meters of the rooftop and the shadow-free zone, so where the sun is getting on. Why? Because based on this data, you can say you can install solar panels on the rooftop. So on this household, on this rooftop, solar panels would be very, very effective. So you can do that through going through satellite images. The problem was very low quality. Then the question was, okay, this is a problem worth solving, because if we can automate this process, potentially millions of households could be scanned and solar panels could be installed. That's an interesting problem. Then we were thinking, okay, how are people solving this problem right now? Well, right now people go on the rooftop, they have to measure everything, and it can be very dangerous. So there have been a lot of accidents happening, and it's a very slow process at all. So we thought, well, how humans are solving it right now comes with a very high error rate. It's not sustainable. It's too slow. Okay, AI technology is interesting to solve this problem. Then what we did is, okay, we looked into the data. So right now, what data do we have? And then what you have to do is you have to work with the data before an AI can do anything. You have to make the data, you have to translate it into a machine translatable format. It's not just that there's a basket, there's like a cup, and this is the AI technology, and you just pour in data, and then something beautiful comes out of it. It's not how it works. So you have to prepare the data. You have to make it digestible. Just think about an Excel file. I think we all have worked with Excel and these gigantic Excel files where there's no structure in it and you can't really work through it, and you have to, structure it, organize it, put it into columns, add your own rules to it so that you can actually extract some value from it. And the same you have to do with the data that you feed in an AI model. You have to prepare it. So the next step was for us, in this way, we had to manually label the images on those rooftops. So people were labeling them. They said, this is the edge of the rooftop, this is the other edge, this is the other edge, this is the other edge. And by doing this, they were creating labeled training data. So data that was correctly identified, where the rooftops were correctly identified. And then we took this data and we put it into an algorithm and we created more images. And then we started to build the AI solution. So is there a question, by the way, in between before I go to the next? No question? Okay. So right now, why do I tell you about this use case? Because in this project, more than 50 people participated. People from India, from remote villages. So people all around India, from different backgrounds. People with senior experience, people who were students, people who were intermediate. And they all came together to collaborate. Some focused on identifying the problem. Some focused on the data collection, labeling the rooftops. Some focused on trying different AI models. Which model would perform the best on this data? Some people had domain expertise on solar installments and solar panels. And everyone came together and collaborated and worked with each other to build this solution. And I think that this applies to many problems. Many problems can be solved way more efficiently, way more effectively through working together. And I think that's also human nature. We all like to work together. We all like to inspire each other. When somebody smiles, we smile back. So collaboration is human nature. And that's what I wanted to share with you and discuss. So I've been talking now a lot. Are there any questions? Something in particular that you want to talk about? And you can chip in, you can raise your hand, or you can use the chat. Okay. Hey, Shamsuddin. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Yeah, hi. Hi. You can call me Sam. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, so it was a very good talk. So I'm very interested to learn more about we and all this stuff. So now, so during this situation now, so which industry you think will benefit more from AI? Like,
okay. So in terms of industries, well,
yeah.
You can think about it this way. First of all, if you want to think about what AI will disrupt in the next years to come, then think about how easy a process is and how easy you can break it down into steps. So if something is very abstract, For example, having a human teacher talking to children where there's a lot of interaction happening, where there are emotions being exchanged, where it's very much important to react in the moment based on what the children are saying, for example. This is more abstract, right? It's not a clear process. But everything where there's a clear process and it can be broken down into steps. First I do this, then I do this, and then I do that. That can be automated, and that will be automated. And this applies to many different areas. And in terms of industries, what is growing a lot is health. Also, a lot is growing in customer service. And those are potentially the biggest, also security. But to be honest, almost everything is, there's almost everywhere happening something with artificial intelligence. I don't know if that's a helpful answer for you.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. So, yeah.
All right. I think maybe one more question because we're already running over time. So somebody else who wants to ask the question or add something? I think we are not allowed to pitch anything, right? Are we allowed to say something about a project that we're working on in case people are interested to learn more? Or say, so if you're interested to learn more about AI and how collaboration works, I'm working for a company, or I started a company which is called Omdena. And if you want to connect, you can also Google my name and you can Google the name Omdena. I can share it here. And then maybe we can have a further conversation around the topic. I share it here in the chat to everyone. So AI is it's a very broad field, and there's a lot to learn about and to dive into. And if you're interested to learn more, you can connect with me. And I hope that was valuable. I don't know if Unite Room 4. Is that somebody from the team? Okay, so I think we have more time. So if you have any question, you can ask the question now. Otherwise, I will leave the room. All right. Then I would say I wish you a good day or evening, depending on where you are. And maybe we connect in the future. And are you all muted? I have to mute you. But you can raise your hand and you can use the chat. Okay. Hi, Maud. Okay, Jerome. Okay. That's interesting here. Okay, hey, Jerome.
Yeah, definitely the meeting is a little bit of a pain in the ass. The other rooms don't seem to be doing that, and it makes it a little bit more complex to chime in for sure. But yeah, I just thought I'd say thank you so much for the talk. It was a great breakdown. I really appreciate it. So yeah, just wanted to like give it a nice round ending. And also just ask you, would you mind like name dropping the kind of biggest organizations globally in AI? So I'm aware of OpenAI and Google DeepMind, and I'm curious, you know, what are the other kind of biggest organizations that are kind of big players in AI? If you could just name drop them, that would be great.
Well, to be honest, you named some of the biggest ones. So in terms of AI, the biggest companies that are interesting, I would say there is a German company that is called Zalando, which is selling clothes basically, which is not a clothing company, it's a data science company or AI company. So almost any company that wants to compete in the future will become an AI company to a certain degree. So Amazon, there's a lot of AI happening in Amazon. Facebook, there's a lot of AI happening in Facebook. When you talk about AI research companies, then OpenAI is interesting. Yes, there's also something called Kaggle, which is a platform where you can do competitions. You can basically engage in projects where you compete, you solve a problem, you go into a team, and then you try to solve the problem, and the team who builds the best solution wins. And which is basically the opposite of what we are doing. We are building collaborative teams. So we have around 50, 60 people working together from different places in the world, and they want to solve a problem together. Yeah, those are the companies. I'm actually not that much an expert in leading AI companies. Yes, Jerome.
Great, thank you so much. I just wanted to say thank you. Yeah, I will get in touch online for sure.
All right, thanks. Okay, anyone else? All right, then thanks for joining and enjoy your evening, day, and maybe a talk. I think there's a question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was interested in AI and robotics. Is it more advanced than what we're using as humans for AI?
So in terms of more advanced, it all depends on the task at hand. So if we build something with technology, usually what we want to do is we want to build something that can do something better than we humans can do it. Otherwise, it doesn't make that much sense. So in terms of robotics, there is a lot of interesting work happening. One company is called Boston Dynamics. Maybe you have heard about that. Boston Dynamics. And you can Google their, or I only send it to Jerome. Boston Dynamics is a company that is very strong in robotics. And you can watch videos of their robots 5 years ago and 10 years ago and what they can do right now. They can do a backflip, they can dance, they can pick up things on the ground, they can throw things, they can open doors, they can close doors. And they advance year by year. So they become better at these tasks. Well, and again, there are a lot of things that they can't do, which is they can't communicate like we human beings do. They can't teach in front of a class. They are very much dependent on their environment where they have been programmed in. We humans are very flexible, we are very dynamic. We do something in this environment that we can easily apply in another environment. With AI, that doesn't work. It's not that they can apply something that they learned in the environment that they have been programmed and can just jump to the other environment and figure out how things work there. That's not possible. You have to program it again. You have to build it up again from scratch. There are a few techniques that are becoming more advanced to facilitate this process, but still, no AI is as flexible as we are as human beings. Is that answering your
they
question?
can- yeah, I just wanted to know, they're not at that moment where robots can ask themselves to think further.
No,
No, okay.
no. And some people say that before, if robots develop some sort of self-consciousness, maybe that takes 20 years, maybe 50 years, maybe 100 years, maybe 200 years. All of these experts, they don't agree on any timeline. Maybe it never happens. So
Yeah.
we're not close to anything like that, to my knowledge. I think now I have to leave because now it's 5:30, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.